I want to start out with the big, beautiful bill. I'm just going to jump right in because I'm exceptionally confused here. And this is the reason. On one hand, I've heard, oh, no. It's going to add trillions to our deficit. It's nothing but tax cuts for the rich. And I'll be honest, I've had Cenk Uygur on my show who went to Wharton. The guy is not an idiot. And he'll sit here and tell me, wait until you see this first budget. You're going to see nothing but tax cuts for the rich. Okay, I do believe Cenk can call balls and strikes. I really do. And people get mad at me that I don't push back. I couldn't even begin to push back. That is why you're here. Is this wrong? I don't understand. And then real quick, just to read this to you, Stephen Miller, so for people who are like me, is the Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and Homeland Security. He goes, on X, I've seen a few claims making the rounds on the big, beautiful bill that require correction. The first is that it doesn't codify the Doge cuts. I have heard that. A reconciliation bill, which is a budget bill that passes with 50 votes, is limited by Senate rules to mandatory spending only, e.g. Medicaid and food stamps. The Senate rule, I think I've already lost the audience. That's how little I can follow what this guy's saying. So I'm actually done here. Is this good or bad? What is this? Because you're like a champion for the middle class. Good or bad?
It's a great question. The truth is, it's not anything because the Senate is now going to cut up the bill and have its way with it. So it's good for Trump and good for the agenda that he was able to corral the House and get it passed. But the document as it exists right now, which is 1,000 pages long, I certainly have not read the whole thing, is not actually the version of the bill that is going to get signed into law. So I can tell you what is in it, but it doesn't really matter very much because there are already two senators who have said that they are not, two Republican senators who have said that in its current form, they're not going to pass it. What it does have is, it's interesting because let's take Medicaid, for example. So the Democrats are saying this is going to kick millions of people off of the Medicaid rolls and basically give tax cuts to the rich. And so basically you're stealing money from the poor and the working class to give to rich people. Now, there's a little bit of truth in that, but not a lot of truth in that. Some people will lose their Medicaid, but the people who are going to lose their Medicaid are, the bill says, if you are a person who is able-bodied, so you're not disabled, you are able to work, and you have no dependents, meaning you don't have any children, they are expecting you to either be getting an education or working 80 hours, I believe it is a month, which is about 20 hours a week. Now, so are some people going to lose their Medicaid? Sure. Is it a terrible thing that an able-bodied man with no children, in exchange for, the gold standard of healthcare in this country, which I certainly don't have that good healthcare, that they should be asked to either be educating themselves or working or looking for work and furthering themselves for 20 hours a week? I don't think that's that bad. I think most Americans would agree that that is not an unreasonable expectation. But by the time the Democrats get their hands on the criticism, they're saying single moms are going to lose their health care, children are going to lose their health care. And none of that is actually in the bill. But furthermore, it doesn't even really matter because Josh Hawley has said he will not, Josh Hawley being a Republican senator, has said he will not sign off on a bill that has any cuts to Medicaid, that does not raise taxes on the rich. Okay. So this bill is now going to get cut up in its current form. Now, I agree with Josh Hawley. I think that the GOP under Trump has become the party of the working class, and that is not a slogan. That has to be policy. And the first policy agenda on that bill should be, yes, if you are in the top 1% and you make over $1 million a year, you should be expected to pay. We're not even talking such a big tax cut. We're going from 37% to 39%. I think to the average working class person who we are asking for big sacrifices as a nation on the tariff front, for example, when you say to them, well, is that something you'd support? It's an obvious no-brainer. And it would force the Democrats to vote against a bill that includes tax hikes on the rich. Like, I can't think of a better troll for the president to be pushing. Trump, I think, feels that,
Oh, I
anyone who
see.
raises taxes,
That's
it's a
brilliant.
losing proposition politically. I think he doesn't realize that the majority of Republican voters at this point support raising taxes on the rich. So we'll see where it ends up. We've got Josh Hawley on one side. Steve Bannon agrees with me on
I've
this.
seen
There's a
that.
lot of heavy hitters on the right now who are pushing this. But in general, I think working class people. So when I was reporting my book, Second Class, I was traveling around the country interviewing working class people. They really don't like fraud in welfare. They all know people who they see as defrauding the system. So I think as long as Republicans can make it clear who is and who is not going to be losing their benefits, they should be safe here. And I don't think it's fair to say that this is, that having a work requirement on able-bodied, non-disabled people who are not parents. It's a very minimum work requirement in order to get this amazing benefit, this amazing healthcare that a lot of us would love to be on and are not on. I don't think that that is, the end of the world, because I think that is very popular.
You've also been very vocal about not wanting any cuts to those kinds of entitlement programs. So if you're not up in arms about this, then that makes me feel a heck of a lot better. But I have seen all the things you're talking about. You know who's on Medicaid? Kids. You know who's, it's like, I've seen all of that. And when I tried to figure out like where are the cuts, it's exactly what you're saying, which I personally also agree with you.
Right.
I have no problem with.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And make sure to let me know what guests you want to see on in the future.